Guys? Michael the X here, and today I'm going to be ranting about Sonic the Hedgehog on his current state. Alright, the main reason I'm doing this is because I really love Sonic in terms of his series. I just don't like the current games. The only current Sonic games that I really enjoyed and don't have that many problems with are Sonic Generations and Sonic Mania. That's it. Sonic Colors, I don't really enjoy in terms of the story. The gameplay I think is fine. It's just the story, and which some people are like Generations, but the gameplay Generations is what makes me love that game. And not to mention, for a game that involves the past, I actually think the story is fine and it's not too convoluted, which is perfectly fair. And that's what I would do if I were ever make a game that has a very popular character visit past zones with their past counterpart, or that would be what I would do, and I think Generations handles that fine. Which also, I actually think that oh, the one thing I will give the current games of Sonic is that the boost formula is really good aside from Forces. Boom has the worst gameplay formula of all the current day games, but yeah. Which I'm also going to go ahead and talk about the characters. The characters I'm going to talk about are Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Shadow, Rouge, Silver, Blaze, is that Amy, and the Chaotix all together. Because now some people are like, why are you not talking about Eggman? And simply due to Eggman is just simply due to him actually already be completely fine. And I actually do think what they did with Eggman currently is extremely good. And if they continue doing with what they did with Eggman, aside from how they literally had Eggman quite literally say inside Sonic Forces, "Oh Sonic, how much I hate you." That that line was dumb when we already know he hates Sonic. It's quite fucking obvious. Which, yeah. Anyways, let's go ahead and talk about the current day games. Then compare them to the older games. Is that before we talk about the characters? Generations and Mania, I'm not going to be talking about due to those games being incredibly good. But I will give a brief overview for Generations specifically, since Mania is more classic Sonic overall. So there's not much that I can really talk about for him. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about Generations in terms of the gameplay. I think that's the best modern Sonic and the best classic Sonic if we don't count Mania. Which then that means there's only two games, Forces and Generations, where Generations is really good. And I hate it whenever people say Generations is a bad game. And which, if people keep on saying that Generations is a bad game just because of classic Sonic, then you're wrong. Classic Sonic is not a bad gameplay style at all. It's just that Forces makes it worse. Worse than it is normally. Okay, now let's go ahead and talk about colors, which I'm not talking about Unleashed, since I did enjoy Unleashed, but I actually think that's for what people call the dark era. I think I call it the best era. Funny enough, because Sonic 1 through Sonic, oh, not Sonic, 2 Knuckles Chaotix and any game before Adventure, right? I call the classic era. Adventure 2, and any games. Oh, and Heroes, I call the yeah. Oh, and from Sonic Adventure to Sonic Unleashed, I call the best era personally. Since I know some are like, why? Because even that era has Sonic 06 and and Shadow the Hedgehog and Sonic Chronicles, the brother, I can't speak. it has 3 really bad games. But every single other game on there, but every single game there, it's just the story and how they write the characters are bad, Shadow the Hedgehog, or it's mainly the gameplay that makes it bad. Aside from Sonic's story for Sonic 06, because Sonic's story for Sonic 06 is just straight up bad, but the Silver and Shadow stories are really good. And I really like how they did Mephiles. If Mephiles was not there, and said it was just a new character for some reason going after Sonic without explanation, and Shadow is just there, then Sonic 06, I would hate it. It would be the worst Sonic game in my eyes, even worse than Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric. But due to what Shadows and Silver stories and the final story, aside from one specific scene, you guys know what scene I'm talking about. It is my absolute favorite Sonic story for those ones, aside from SA2, where the characters feel nicely written. Uh, which I'm just going to quickly say this right now. SA2, Sonic 06, then Sonic Battle. Those are my favorite Sonic stories. But Sonic 06, again, only because of Shadow and Silver stories, and almost all of the final story. Now let's go ahead and continue. Now let's go ahead and look at the stories of the current days. Colors. I actually did not mind Colors' story once it came out, simply due to me being a little kid, but after replaying Colors, I I don't like the game. I think the gameplay is fine, but the story is just bland. Also, it would have been cool if the first half was the exact same, but after Tails gets controlled by by Eggman, that's when it changes from Tails just not getting controlled for after 5 seconds to be controlled. You actually get a boss fight against Tails where you have to catch up to Tails, hit him, but Tails uses the Wisp-On energy to attack. Once you beat Tails, he's freed from it, and then that makes the game more serious where Sonic and Tails are trying to stop it. That's literally all I want. That's literally what... If that was there alone for Sonic Colors, then that story would have been way better, and I would have been perfectly fine with Sonic Colors. Now... Alright, so the final... That's all I'm going to say about Colors. I already talked about Sonic Generations. Now let's get to Sonic Lost World. Alright, so Sonic Lost... wait, I forgot about Boom. Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric, Sonic Boom Shower Crystals, and Sonic Boom Fire and Ice. Fire and Ice is extremely good. And it has the exact same cheesy style from the TV show, which I did enjoy the TV show. But I did not like I did not like Shower Crystals or Rise of Lyric at all. Especially since Rise of Lyric, like 06, is a buggy mess. But at least 06 had good level design. Well, Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric just does not have any type of good level design for any type of game. So I don't have any respect for that game. While Sonic 06, I have so much respect for it in many different ways. Which is honestly why I wish Sega would have learned from their mistakes instead of being cowards. Which is also why I'm begging that the current Sonic Anniversary is extremely good. Now let's go ahead and talk about the Lost World. The Zeddy fucking suck. The moment that I saw all 6 of them, I was like, these characters are gonna fucking suck, and I already know it. And then once I started playing the game, oh my god, they were so... the parkour mechanic was extremely good. It's just that they did not use it. But, oh my fucking god, the story is hideous. First off, I'm gonna go ahead quickly you skip all the way towards the end game where Tails gets controlled by the Zeti. They did the exact same thing as Colors. Again, this should have been a boss fight where, right, you have to chase down Tails while Tails is shooting projectiles at you. What, from his gun. Oh, Mega Man style. And after you do a few hits on Tails, the oh, the robot pieces break off, saving Tails. That would have added much more stakes. And they're not showing that the Zeti are not playing around. Instead, we have Tails freeing himself via the use of his tails, which should not have bones. Seriously, that plot is just so dumb. Now let's get to the Zeti as characters. They're really bad. I don't want to see any one of them again. The best one is Zaz, simply due to me actually liking his chaotic nature. Then it's Master Zik. Then it's Zavok, but that's a bad character, and I hate Zavok. At least Zaz. Why did I say Ziz? At least Zaz and Master Zik, those were memorable moments for them, and I did like their moments. But oh my fucking god, the other ones are bad. Oh, I don't want to remember the names. In fact, I don't remember the girl's name. Oh wait, no, never mind. I do remember her name. But I believe her name is Xena. I'm talking about the green one. Oh. Then let's go ahead and talk about. What's it? Alright, so then the. Alright, which she's my absolute worst. I hate her so much. And I know the exact reason why. It's because she's. Oh, it's just dumb. Like, I hate whenever people just do girl tropes. Like, oh, I'm a girl. Look at me, I paint my nails. I don't mind girls not being badass. It's just, I don't want them to be just girl. Then, the depressed one. I don't remember that one's name. Then, Zaman. I remember that one being fat. And the only scene I remember is him whacking Sonic with that big, long sandwich. That's all I remember. Which, some people are like, that's a memorable scene. Why? Isn't that good enough? No! Not at fucking all. Okay, now let's go ahead and move on from Lost World because I don't want to talk about the game ever again. Unless if people want a detailed review on certain games. Now let's go ahead and talk about Sonic Forces. Because again, I'm not talking about Mania because Mania is a good game and it's created by the fans, so it doesn't really count. Okay, the reason why I'm not talking about Alright, so the reason why I'm talking about Forces is because the game's just bad. Let's go ahead and talk about what I like about Forces and what I don't like about Forces. Which I barely like anything about Forces. First off, I think Eggman, for once winning, is a neat idea. And if they actually took the story seriously, it would have been the highest potential Sonic game ever. And I would have respected Forces way more than I do. The potential of the game is there. They just fucked up by letting Ponte and Graf write these games. You know, the guys who wrote those stupid games. Okay, that's enough. I'm done being nice to Sonic Forces. Let's talk about why I absolutely fucking hate that game. Now, let's go ahead and talk about episode Shadow really quick because I completely forgot about that. I actually think episode Shadow up until Infinite was good, but once they reveal that Infinite for one is just a normal Jackal and for two he's not even that powerful without the Infinite, uh, fuck, without the Phantom Ruby, then, because that alone made me pissed. Because let's say that, like, we should have actually had a boss fight against Infinite. Also, apparently his name is Zero. I'm just calling him Infinite since that's the more well-known one. If we had a boss fight against him and the boss fight was ridiculously easy, then yeah. Also, characterization of Shadow. Shadow would never call someone weak. At least unless you're talking about current day Shadow or Hedgehog Shadow. He would never directly call someone weak. I believe the only time he's ever called a character weak was Sonic in SA2, but that was just simply due to that was just banter. And I don't even think he did. That one I could just be completely wrong about. Then let's go ahead and talk about the rest of the game. I don't like how the characters don't have new designs. Sonic Forces should have had new designs for every single character. And yes, this includes Sonic. It should have been a one-off new design, which would have enhanced the game and enhanced it to be a war theme. If that was the case, then that would have been way better. Okay. Now let's go ahead and talk about why I think these games are extremely bad. Even. Alright. Again, I'm not talking about Generations and Mania. I'm just re-clarifying that because some people will be like, some idiots in the comments would be like, but Generations and Mania are good games. Okay. Stories. All these stories are extremely bad aside from one, and that is, again, Fire and Ice, because all that's a basic plot to some extent. The new characters that were introduced, that little robot, I actually really like that character. And that's shocking coming from Boom. Now, seriously, Pontiac with Graf, I already know they got fired, but they should never, and I mean never, write a serious Sonic game. It's just dumb. Okay, number 2, the Wisps. This obviously does not apply to Boom at all. Colors, it made perfect sense, and the only time that they explain the Wisps being inside of the games is in the comics, the IDW comics specifically, which should not have to be explained in a fucking comic. It should be explained in the games. So Sega, if you ever bring back the Wisps, explain it in the games. And yeah. I need to get some water. Sorry for that. Seriously, it makes no sense for them to be in Forces or in Lost World. Not in the slightest. Team Sonic Racing, I don't really mind because I actually think for a racing game, I actually think the Wisps are fine. It's just the main series games is where they should not return. Also, people have been begging for the Chow, yet they don't bring them back. Like, seriously. Like, you could have easily just made an excuse saying that the Chow, some Chows have certain powers that that mimic the Wisps due to the Wisps being on Earth for a little bit, and they learn from them. That would have been way better. And if you guys explained how they return in Sonic Forces, then that would have been perfectly fine. But no, instead we get shitty fucking we get shitty fucking plots with no explanation for certain things. Also, bringing OCs into Sonic Forces was honestly kind of a stupid move. Especially if the OC was going to play exactly like Sonic without the boost. Like, if the OC played, like, the adventure style, then that would have been perfect. I'm not gonna lie. I would be perfectly fine with that. And in fact, I would love that. But, nope. Anyways, now let's go ahead and get to what the last bit of the hate for the games. It's just the quality of them. Colors was fine. Boom was atrocious for both the bad games. Fire and Ice was extremely good, though. Again, Generations of Mania is not talked about. And Forces' budget, ew. Now let's go ahead and talk about the characterizations. Sonic. I hate how they're characterizing Sonic. He should not be, your typical hero. Sonic, even though he is a good guy, he's not necessarily a hero. In fact, some, that's exactly how he was described in certain games, and how he's described in certain media. Then let's go ahead and talk about how he is handled inside of. Like, the only source of media that I like for Sonic is, funny enough, that the IDW comics, which those comics are extremely good. I will praise those comics until the end of my time. Then let's go ahead and let's talk about Tails. Oh my fucking god, what they do to my two-tailed fox. They ruined his character so much. First Lost World, they made him a sassy little kid. Then, who thinks that he's in the right for everything, which I hated. Seriously, Tails was. They really thought Tails was likable in Lost World. Like, if they just simply had this be something that was going on because Tails was upset that they had to team up with Eggman. Although he teamed up with Eggman in the past, and Sonic points it out. Then that would be perfectly fine if Tails acknowledges that mistake. But nope. Instead, we just get a shitty fucking plot where Tails thinks that he's in the right and Sonic says he's in the right. Jesus fucking Christ. Then Forces comes along and absolutely butchers his character. They say Tails has lost it. If they just, once I heard that, I was like, oh, Tails is gonna go insane? But even then, I thought that was a bit too serious for Sonic, and for current day Sonic. So I thought, okay, he's gonna be he's probably gonna be, even though not insane, he's probably gonna not be in the right state of mind. Which was sort of true, but it was still really bad. They had him literally, be with a character. They literally, instead of him be able to fight for himself, he instead is scared of Chaos fucking Zero. If it was Perfect Chaos who was attacking, that would be understandable. And I would not bat an eye at that, unlike most fans. But still, holy fucking shit, they ruined Tails. If I were to talk about Tails, this video would turn into a 40-minute video. And no one wants that. Now let's go ahead and talk about Knuckles. Knuckles, I hate on how they turn into comedy relief, but I actually do think him being a commander of an army is a good idea from Forces. It's just that again, the new designs would have made this a bit better by simply showing the growth where Knuckles was forced into that position. And instead of having their base randomly be on the ground, it should have been at Angel Island. And Knuckles' base of operations is right next to the Master Emerald, so he can keep an eye on it. That would have actually saved a little bit of time. Again, the comics explain that, but Pontek and Graf never thought about the Master Emerald because they don't fucking know Sonic. But again, he's just comedy relief for these games, and I hate that. And have you guys noticed that every single Sonic game that revolves around the Master Emerald in some way has been reviewed very well, aside from a few? Well, yeah, that's because those games are really good. Because of the plot and because of the gameplay. Okay, now let's go ahead and talk about Amy. I know I said Shadow next. It's going to be Shadow, Blaze, Silver, and that's it. Because again, Eggman is fine. And Silver and Blaze are purely here because I actually think their characters are positive for the changes. Okay, let's talk about Amy now. Her right, so Generations and Lost World Amy. Generations I actually did like, actually, now I think about it, but Lost World I did not like. I don't know what it was, I just don't like Lost World Amy. And Amy from Forces, I actually did like her characterization, but again, she should have had a new design. Even if it looked like the Boom's version of Amy. I would have been fine with that as long as they explained why she was in her position. Now let's talk about the Shadow. Oh my fucking god, they ruined Shadow so hard. Shadow's the most ruined character aside from Tails. Because at least Shadow was edgy in one game, but that game was extremely bad and no one liked it. The only people who like it are people who like it because of the ironic humor of how bad the game is, or they like it because they like edgy Shadow with a gun, which is dumb. If I don't mind Shadow being edgy to some extent. I just don't want him to be this over the top edgelord who thinks he's better than everyone else. I want him to only be mean towards those who he sees fit, not people who he considers weak. Because then he will consider Cream weak. And the few interactions we do see of Shadow and Cream, well, such as the Archie comics, despite those not being canon or anything like that, we actually see him be really good towards kids. Even Shadow the Hedgehog does that very well. And yet they don't even fucking know how to handle his character, which is honestly dumb. Now let's go ahead and talk about the Silver. I really love current day Silver, but I don't like the one line from Forces where he says, "But I'm also a realist." He's never been a fucking realist. Again, new designs would have made the game way better. Explaining that Silver, explain why Silver said that. Now let's go ahead and talk about Blaze. I'm talking about Blaze, even though she only appeared in Generations and Team Sonic Racing, which I did not count for any other character, but Blaze I kind of have to. Because this is one of the few characters where the characterization is perfect. And I really like what they've done with Blaze. So, yeah. Now let's go ahead and talk about... Alright, I'm also going to add in Infinite here. Infinite had so much potential. It's just like how Lost World and Forces had so much potential, but they fucked it. Now, I'm gonna just do this for a tiny bit. What do you think the next Sonic game should be? I think they should take notes from SA1, SA2, and Child Silver stories from '06. Oh, but do have a tiny bit of that boom humor. But have the characters overall act serious and only have quick banter with each other whenever it's necessary to build up character development. And that's it. That would have been way better. Sorry for taking that long drink. My throat is hurting from talking about all this without a consistent break. Anyways, now let's go ahead and talk about one thing in particular about current day Sonic that I did enjoy. And that is for Boom specifically the humor. But I don't like current day Sonic that much. Now let's go ahead and I'm gonna end this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and like, comment, subscribe if you want more rants and even reaction videos. The YouTuber that I got this content from is FCP play SC FV FC playthroughs. Go support this video, and goodbye.